Hello leaders, Patrick Jinks here, leadership and strategy coach and president of the Jinks Perspective. I hope your year's off to a great start. Many of the leaders I coach struggle with achieving what they call work-life balance. Let's talk about that. Cue it up. Okay, let's start by defining work-life balance. Like other things, people define this differently, and I can't define it for you, but I find that most of the people I coach say it has something to do with the challenge of having so much to do at work that their home life, family life, or personal life takes a back seat. For some, it means keeping the lines clearly delineated between when it's work time and when it's not. During 2020, many leaders struggled with this when they found themselves working from home for the first time. Home was always a sacred place where we don't bring work, and COVID-19 violated that space. Now, I might not be the best person to give any advice on this subject of work-life balance because I approach things a little differently than a lot of people when it comes to the concept of work-life balance. My office and business are in my home. I have dedicated physical space for it. I happen to thrive in it. I have the discipline to work from home. And through the years, I have found what seems to be the right calibration between work life and personal life. But I also blend the two intentionally. I'm not one to feel a great separation is needed or maybe even possible between who I am personally and who I am professionally. But as you know, I like visual models. I think they're helpful for a lot of people. So here's one that might help you, and we'll call it the Work-Life Balance Arrow. You can download a copy of it by clicking the link in the video description below this video if it helps to have it on paper. It's super simple, but it may help you think about your own preferences and solutions for achieving your own work-life balance. So here's how it works. To the left, the arrow points to work, and to the right, it points to personal life. In the center is the fulcrum, but it's a gray area or a buffer zone. On either side of the fulcrum, list the elements that belong there and maybe even place a dot on the line for how extreme toward one end or the other that element should be. In other words, how separate the element needs to be from the other side of the equation. Consider the middle to be the buffer zone in which elements that are okay to blend between the two can go. If the element is outside the buffer zone on either side, it is to be protected from the other side of the arrow. For example, would you ever invite a significant other to one of your fundraising events? That's a bit of a blend between work and life, perhaps. Or would you ever have your team over to your house for an appreciation cookout? Those kinds of things might go in the buffer zone. Here are some additional potential items for the buffer zone. Reading for work or doing any kind of planning or analyzing or writing for your job, but at home. On the other hand, items that you may want to put closer to the outside or the arrows could include things like social media activity or vacation time. Now remember that what one person would prefer in the buffer zone as a blend, others would place at the extreme ends. It's up to you, and vice versa. You complete your own arrow, in other words. Now, the arrow just gets the creative juices flowing. The next step is to get intentional about how you will execute on the elements on the arrow. For example, you can't put time off on the far right and then not plan time off for yourself. And on the work side of the arrow, you'll have to manage your calendar in such a way that those things take priority appropriately at work. I know it sounds simple, and it actually is, but it's difficult at times. It's still simple. The bottom line is that you are in control. I often hear things like, my schedule's just crazy, or I haven't had the time, or I just can't afford to take time off right now. I get it, but it's important to understand that we operate in the environment we create. Remember, you can't manage time. You can only manage yourself and how you utilize the time you have. If you don't feel you're achieving work-life balance, there's really only one person who can change that, and that's you. That's the Jinx Perspective for this week. As always, if you'd like to explore ways that the Jinx perspective can help you and your organization achieve greater clarity, simplicity, and alignment in your mission work, I hope that you'll reach out and schedule a free discovery call with me by clicking the link that's in the video description below. And maybe we can do some coaching on your work-life balance. And if you haven't already, click the subscribe button below as well and include the bell icon so that you're informed whenever we launch new episodes. As always, share this with a friend or a colleague that you think could benefit from it, and we'll see you here next week.